Okay, welcome back to a Pinstripe Buzz. So let's get right into it. The offseason. About 100 days till opening day. A lot to discuss, a lot to catch up on. So I'm hoping I can fit this in about 6 minutes or so we can kind of overview already what happened. So, season ends. 4-game sweep, swept out of the playoffs by the eventual champion Astros, who is the Dragon. So, what is this offseason all about? Slaying that dragon. So, what do you have to do? You got to bring back Judge. You got to bolster the rotation, figure out the left side of your infield, and bring in a left fielder. So, to this point, the Yankees have done 2 of those things. Judge is back, and they brought in Carlos Rodon. So, let's talk about that. Kind of reading Yankee Twitter and looking at the Yankee universe and the fandom, and it's there's a mixed bag here with this Judge contract. 9 years, $360 million, $40 million a year. He's going to play into his age 41 season. So, what do you really make of that exactly? And, if you're looking at the contracts that Bogarts got, that Turner got, that Judge got, a lot of these teams are not worried about the back end of these contracts. They're worried about the now. They're worried about having the player now. And the problem with Judge is that he's 6'7". There's no way to kind of look at this player and see how he's going to age. So you can't really go into it saying, we know how he's going to break down. We know that eventually he won't be able to do this or won't be able to do that. You can't do that with a player of his stature. You can kind of comp him to Stanton. And Stanton, as injury prone as he is, I like to call him the China doll. If he breathes the wrong way, he pulls a muscle. But Judge is a player that needs to be here. He needs to be a Yankee. There's no other place for him to play. Seeing him in a Giants uniform would have been weird, and it wouldn't have fit. He'll always be linked to the Yankees no matter where he goes, and he's staying home. That night that the arson Judge tweet came out from John Heyman, I didn't want to believe it right away. I was kind of taken back, and it was interesting because I had to go to work at night, and during that time I was away, in meetings, in and out of meetings all night, I was constantly checking my phone looking for updates. And thankfully, obviously 5 minutes later, he retracts his tweet and everything is still uneasy, but we're still kind of there. Now, when it comes to Judge, Hal calls him up, acts like his father, George reincarnate for once, and we get the deal done. The Padres were involved. The Padres tried to Kool-Aid man the whole situation, trying to jump in with a contract that MLB wouldn't have accepted to begin with. They were trying to break the rules, so it wouldn't have worked. But you have your Yankee back, your legacy Yankee of this generation is back. He's back for his entire career, and there's really nothing else to say. He is the captain. He should be named captain. He's got a lot of Jeter in him, the way that he handles the media, the way that he acts on and off the field. He's Jeter. And, growing up at the age that I'm at, I remember Jeter, obviously, but, you really don't start paying attention at that young of an age. And seeing Jeter in the back end of his career, I really remember 2001 on. So, for my generation of Yankee fan people in my age and stuff, Judge is our Jeter. Obviously, Jeter has a special place in my heart, and Jeter is, it was a privilege to watch Jeter play. But we got to see Judge get drafted, come up the system, all the hype, and now look what he's turned into. So, Jeter is like my dad's Yogi or my dad's Mantle. Yogi and Mantle are my dad's generation. And Jeter and Judge are this generation of Yankee fans. Now, for the Yankee fans who are saying that they shouldn't have signed him, who are you going to replace him with? Tell me at that point, who in the free agent market is somebody that is actually going to replace the production of Aaron Judge in that Yankee lineup? You go from a perennial AL East contender to the 3rd or 4th best team in the league, just like that, or in the division, rather. So, you can't sit here and tell me that, it's too many years, it's too much money. In about 5 years, that $40 million AAV is going to be a bargain. Juan Soto is going to make over 50. There are other players who are going to make over 50. Shohei Ohtani is going to make over 50. So you know what? Stop looking for something to complain about and just be happy that you didn't lose your forever Yankee. Go talk to a Mets fan and about forever players and who their forever players are. There aren't any. Well, other than David Wright, but that career ended short because of injury. But look at some of the players that they brought. Look at all those pitchers. DeGrom, gone. Syndergaard, gone. Harvey, gone. And there's other ones that I forgot about. But, Judge needs to be a Yankee. And no matter whether you like the contract or not, he's in the place that he should be. Now, in a perfect world, is he signed for 5 years rather than 9 or 6 rather than 9? 100%. But he's a Yankee. There's no other way around it. You are in a position now where you are a World Series contender. You will be a World Series contender. And talking about bringing in Judge in that conversation that he had with Steinbrenner, now you talk about what that conversation was about. And it was, we need to upgrade. We need to upgrade. And what did they do? They got the best pitcher on the market, Carlos Rodon, 6 years, $162 million, 27-year AAV. So, let's talk about that contract now. Injury history, shoulder problem, Tommy John, 2 good years put together, 1 in Chicago and 1 in San Francisco. The guy's figured it out. He throws his fastball. He's a 2-pitch pitcher, fastball slider guy, lefty. Lefties traditionally do well at Yankee Stadium. And if you really think about it, every World Series Yankee team has had a lefty on it that can pitch. That is a top of the rotation arm. And that's what this guy is. He brings swagger. He's a bulldog. He's got swag. He's got an attitude about him that you need to have when you pitch in New York. This is not a Sonny Gray situation. This is hopefully not a Frankie Montas situation. And I personally think that Montas was hurt. I think he's going to bounce back. He's going to have a good year. So now you're talking about a Yankee rotation that's probably the best in the American League. Because you have the Astros who lost Verlander, and there's no other rotation in the American League that can pitch pound for pound with the Yankees. You have Cole, you have Rodon, you have Severino, you have Cortez, you have Montas, you have Herman, you have Clark Schmidt, and if he can figure it out, Davy Garcia. So you have this situation here with the pitching that is nothing else that you can ask for. So with Rodon, I'm looking forward to watching him pitch. Hopefully he could stay healthy. Hopefully Severino can stay healthy. Hopefully Cortez can stay healthy because he burned out at the end of the year with an injury. And the bullpen, you have brought Tommy Kahnle back. So that's a positive. King's coming back. You've lost Chapman, which is a positive. It's a net positive. Britton's no longer here. Net positive. So you've lost some of your dead weight. You've replaced some of it. There's other pitchers coming up. They signed the kid out of Cincinnati who can be very good. Matt Blake, when Matt Blake gets his hands on pitchers, he's able to turn things around and make things good for them. So when it's all said and done, the Yankees are in a good spot. Now, left field. I don't think Andrew Benintendi wanted to come back to the Yankees. I don't. He's a Midwest guy. He's from Ohio. And of course, where does he go? He goes to Chicago. White Sox, 5 years, $75 million. Now, can the Yankees match that? They could have. I don't think they did. They didn't want to give him 5 years. I mean, the guy's 28 years old. He hit over 300 last year. That had a freak injury, so we really didn't get to see him in the playoffs. But all in all, I don't think Benintendi wanted to be a Yankee. Now, what does that leave you open to? Brian Reynolds, Max Kepler, and some of the outfielders out in Arizona. Now, a trade has to happen now because there's nobody really on the free agent market that is going to replace a Benintendi-like bat. Now, the Yankees need contact guys. They need high contact guys. The flow at the Yankees over the past, this recent window since 2017 has been the fact that they can't put the ball in play consistently. They're one of the best regular season teams in the past 5 years. They're always at the top of the division. They're always in the hunt for the division crown, but they can't hit in the playoffs. So how do you fix that? You get guys that are high contact. You get guys that can put the ball in play, who could do the little things, who could bunt, who could hit the other way. Now, I think Rizzo can be one of those guys next year, especially since the shift is being banned. So his average is going to skyrocket. And a lot of other Yankees are going to have their averages go up if they could consistently put the ball in play. You talk about how you have not that many outfielders in the market right now that you can go get without a premium. Now, there was talk of Tatis. And some people that I know that I was talking to, they were ready to jump on a plane and bring Tatis over to New York, no questions asked. Tatis is not a Yankee. You don't want to bring in Tatis. He's not a Yankee. He's not mature enough. He's a locker room cancer. And you're going to lose him for a good chunk of the season because of the PED suspension. So that's not the right fit. It's not the right fit. And where are you going to play him? He's not an outfielder. He's trying to learn how to play the outfield, but he's a shortstop. And if the Yankees have anything in abundance, it's shortstops. Volpe, Peraza, Sweeney, just to name a few. Now, I think that you can trade one or two of them for pitching easily. Dominguez is too far away. So what do? How do you do it? Do you go into a season with Oswaldo Cabrera as your left fielder? I personally do not feel comfortable with that. He's a utility guy. He's going to replace Marwin Gonzalez. He can play all over the infield. He can play both corner outfield positions. So you don't want to pigeonhole him into left field. So you got to go get something. And who's to say when we talk about Reynolds, if the Pirates even want to trade him? Now, he's not a high contact guy either. I don't really understand what the hype is about Reynolds. Reynolds is not hitting over 300. He strikes out a lot. He doesn't put the ball in play. That's not what you want. You want a guy that could put the ball in play, hit for average. You don't need him to hit 25 home runs. You have that in your lineup already. The Yankees are offensively, they're very one-dimensional when it comes to situational baseball. They traditionally don't put the ball in play very often. They strike out a ton, and they hit the home run. How does that work in the playoffs? Look at teams of the last couple of years that won the World Series. They put the ball in play, they pitched well, and they played baseball. They didn't play analytical baseball. They played baseball. They played the game the way it should be played. They stole bases. They put runners in motion. They got the hit with 2 outs when they needed to. They shortened up with 2 strikes. Not like Glaber, who's swinging with, who's another guy that is getting rumored around to be traded. Now, with LeMahieu's health, who's to say that he should get traded? You should keep him. He's under control. He's a cheap asset. Why trade him? Who's going to play second base? So, when you talk about the offseason so far, I think that it's been a success. You talk about how they got their pitcher. They brought in their soon-to-be captains back. Rizzo's back. Now, Benintendi, was it on their list? Yeah, it was. But, I really don't think that they were really involved once it got to 5 years. So where do they go next? So you got to see. We got to see what Cashman is going to do, what Cashman's thinking. Obviously, the promise to Judge was to get this team upgraded over the hump. They've already done that on the pitching side. Now they got to figure out what's going on in left field. Are you bringing Donaldson back to play third base? And the Yankees love him. They do. I know that the fans can't stand him, and there are at points in time last year that I was yelling and screaming that he shouldn't be in the lineup. But he's an elite level defender. He plays third base better than anybody. He should have won a Gold Glove. So, you don't want to cut your nose to spite your face and just look at the offensive side of it. The Yankees were better defensively than in years past last year. And pitching and defense wins championships. And if they can continue to play defense well, if they can continue to pitch, they're going to be in the hunt. Now you got to get the offense figured out. But all in all, it's that's where we're at right now. You know, it's December 17th. We have a while until pitchers and catchers. There's a lot to be figured out. The Yankees are not done. They talk about this big move that hasn't happened yet, but they're not done. The question is, and every Yankee fan should ask themselves this question: are we better today than we were when the season ended in the Yankee Stadium against Houston? And the answer is yes, we are a better team. But if you can't figure out why, you need to do some research and figure out what you see that nobody else is seeing. The Yankees are going to contend next year. They're going to be a favorite. I think that rotation-wise, they have the advantage over the Astros. Offensively, the Astros have the advantage. So pitching wins championships. So I'll give the advantage over the Yankees. So you have to see what the Yankees do on the offensive side of the ball. Now, for tomorrow's video, we'll kind of dive into the offensive ideas of where the Yankees should go. Who should they go after? What kind of player should they go after? And what should they give up in order to get that if they were to make a trade? Because I think that's the only way that they're going to do it. They have to make a trade. There's nobody on the free agent market right now that can be serviceable in a starter's role. You know, you have Profar. Cashman loves Profar, but can he be your everyday left fielder? AJ Pollock is on the down end of his career. So what can the Yankees do to solidify left field? Do you go in with Aaron Hicks? Do you go in with Oswaldo Cabrera? What do you do? What do you do? It's not something that is easily answered. There's so many ways they could figure it out. And what Cashman's got under the sleeve, or what he's got going on that nobody knows about. Who's he called? Who's he reached out to? Nobody knows. Cashman likes to keep things close to the vest. Now, he didn't handle that way with Judge, but if you remember with Jeter, when Jeter signed that 3-year deal in 2013, I think it was, he did the same thing. He made it public, and Jeter was not happy about it. He used the same tactic with Judge, and Judge is back. Now we're just waiting for that press conference. We'll cover that press conference and cover some of the things that he said when the press conferences happen for him and Rodon. So we'll sit tight, wait for that. You know, these deals are handshake deals. They're not official yet. The Yankees haven't announced them yet. Physicals need to be done. Paperwork needs to be figured out. So we're still waiting for that. But hopefully in the next week before Christmas, we have all this figured out. They're introduced officially as Yankees. We have a new captain. First one since Jeter in Judge. And we continue to get better. And let me know what you think in the comment section below. Has this offseason been a success? If so, why? Or why not? Give me some facts. Give me some information that makes you believe that the Yankees are not better now than they were at the end of the season last year. So that's all I got for today. Thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment in the section down below. Tell your friends and look for tomorrow's video. Have a nice night. Signing off.